So we just back to the dumb shit, I see. We just back to the dumb shit. People out here calling Jerome Boots Ennis a duck. He ducked Terrence Crawford. Tank Davis should now be stripped again. He should be stripped again. When are y'all gonna learn to stop this shit and cut this shit out? Let's talk about it all in this video, because I'm only making 3 regular videos a day. I gotta get to these predictions. I don't feel well. I'm trying to push through this shit, but it's just shit be making me so mad, bro. Because it's just common sense, fam. How can Jerome Boots Ennis? Now, y'all know how I feel about Boots and Virgil. Oh my God, what happened to Virgil? He couldn't get Boots to fight him. He ducking. Y'all know how I feel about that. But this Bud Crawford shit is baffling to me. Because Bud Crawford fans and Bud Crawford himself get on my nerves. People ask me all the time, KO, why you don't like Bud, bro? And I tell them all the time, I think he a hell of a fighter, bro. But the same shit that make him a great fighter is the same shit I can't stand. He very deceptive, very cunning, very grimy, very underhanded, very, like, you know, just delusional to a point. He believe his own bullshit. But him believing that type of shit is why he's able to do what he did to Canelo. Why he did Spence the way that he did him. It's similar to Floyd, where the same characteristics mentally and from a personality standpoint that make you not be able to really stand Floyd as a person also made him a great fighter, bro. And I guess you gotta have that shit in you to be as great as they are at what they do. So you can't take that shit away from them. But you can. It's funny how Bud Crawford, because I know the nigga ain't got no bad memory, right? And I know his fans hang on to his every word. I just don't understand for the life of me how you can hear Bud Crawford say Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz had the opportunity to fight me, and then turn around and say, I don't want to fight Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz because they do nothing for my career. I don't see how when Bud Crawford got stripped for the IBF title at 147, how you can hear him say he's not fighting Boots Ennis because he got bigger fish to fry. I don't see how after that at 154, you can hear him say, I'm not fighting Boots Ennis because I'm on to bigger and better things. He does nothing for my career. How can you hear a man say all of those things and then say that he's the one being ducked by the person that he's saying those things about? Did I say that shit too fast? I'm going to say it again. Terrence Crawford has said all of these things that I just mentioned about Boots Ennis. These are facts, right? How can he say all these things about Boots Ennis, but Boots Ennis is the one ducking him? How can you duck somebody that's openly saying they don't want to fight you? For instance, here are the 2 cases, right? Bud Crawford's case for Boots Ennis ducking him is that some lying-ass nigga representing BLK Prime had BLK Prime call Boots Ennis, ask if he want to fight Bud Crawford. And Boots Ennis people like, yo, do you represent Bud? Like, is Bud signing you? The person says no, and they like, well, we ain't got shit to talk about. You don't even represent Bud. During this time that this alleged phone call took place, Bud Crawford was in negotiations with motherfucking Earl Spence. This was in the beginning of 2023 when all this shit happened, bro. That's Bud's case, right? Boots ducked Bud when Bud was already in negotiations with Earl. Boots ducked Bud when the person that reached out to Boots about a Bud fight didn't even represent Bud, wasn't even his team. But somehow that's the case for Boots ducking Bud. Okay? Boots in his case for Bud ducking him is Bud openly and publicly saying on multiple occasions, I don't want to fight Boots. He does nothing for my career. Now, I'm not saying Bud is ducking Boots. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that if anybody has a case for being ducked, it would be Boots Ennis, not Bud Crawford, bro. Y'all got to cut this shit out, bro. Like, it's like we having to rehab the same conversations because y'all can't leave shit alone. There's that. I'm off of that. Tank Davis should be stripped. Coming back up from the usual fucking suspects, bro. Haven't we been over this shit already, bro? At the end of the day, this topic is what got a lot of niggas in their feelings, bro. And it's because I'm like, yo, how could you call for Tank Davis to be stripped? I said this because there was calls for him to be stripped when he had the little court case or whatever. And I said, why would you jump to conclusions? If it's not hate, why would you jump to conclusions that he should be stripped when you don't even know the outcome of the court case? You call for him to be stripped. They listen to your stupid ass. They strip him. Then what if he gets found innocent? What if the case gets dismissed? Then you look stupid in the motherfucker if you're the WBA because you stripped him and you stripped the innocent man and took him from his title. No. What you should do is wait for the outcome and then see what's going on. And now here we go again. Oh, he should be stripped because he fighting Jake Paul. He should be stripped because the WBA is only worried about money. He should be stripped because he holding up the division. Okay. Shakur's next fight is rumored to not even be in the division. He's fighting at 140. Should he be stripped? He only fights 2 times a year. Lamont Roach is fighting at 140. He still holds a belt at 130. His last fight at 130 pounds was in the summer of 2024. He fought at 135 in March of 2025. And then he's fighting in 140, allegedly, in the winter of 2025. Why no calls for Lamont Roach to be stripped? Lamont Roach has openly said that he don't even think he's going back to 130. He can't make 130 no more. Where the videos at on Lamont Roach being stripped? Where were the videos on Ryota Murata being stripped when Ryota Murata had the belt for 2.5 years at middleweight? Where were those calls at, bro? Where was the calls for Bud Crawford to be stripped at 154 pounds when we all knew he wasn't coming back when he took the Canelo fight in 168? See, it's the picking and choosing bullshit for me, bro. That is, long story short, it's other fighters out there that have not defended their belts for way longer. It's other fighters out there that have made it clear that they not coming back to a division by taking fights in other divisions. But we don't see them getting called to be stripped. Now, somebody will retort that and say, well, KO, Tank said he's retiring. You can say whatever you want publicly. It's what you do when the business time comes that's gonna say what should happen, right? Meaning that he can say publicly he gonna retire all he want to. But the WBA will be stupid to strip him because of what he says publicly. They need to find out what's going on behind the scenes, which I'm sure they already have. The fact that they haven't stripped him leads me to believe that they know something that we don't know. They know his ass gonna be fighting again. They know his ass gonna be defending that belt. So why the fuck would they strip him? He can say he's going. Like I told y'all, people ask me about, oh, Tank retiring, Tank retiring. I said, wake me up when he vacates his belt. Wake me up when it goes 2 or 3 years without him fighting. Wake me up when that shit happens, bro. Because unlike me, right? Unlike most people that make content on YouTube, the WBA people that make those decisions, they have contact with Louis DeCupers. They have contact with Tom Brown. They have contact with Tank's managers. They have contact with Al Heyman. They actually talk to these motherfuckers. And so they can go get the info, say, bro, we heard Tank publicly say he out of boxing, bro. Look, we got to move the division forward. We got Schofield as number 1 in the WBA. Y'all know we fuck with Tank. Y'all know we want to keep him as a champion if we can. Is he really retiring? Because we can move the division forward. Nah, bro, he ain't retiring. That's just for marketing. Nah, bro, he ain't retiring. That's just for promotion. Or, nah, bro, he ain't decided yet. Let us get through this Jake Paul fight, and then he's going to make a decision. Oh, all right. No problem. Just let us know. You know why they would do that? You know why that's the prudent thing to do? Because it's Tank fucking Davis, nigga. Because you're going to look like a damn fool as a sanctioning body. You're going to look like a damn fool as a businessman if you go strip this young man. And after the Jake Paul fight, after 20, 30, 40 million people watch this shit or whatever it is, if he say, nah, man, you know, I still got like 4 or 5 fights left. Nah, man, I'm going to come back next year. I'm going to take a little time out, but I'm going to be back next year. I ain't going nowhere. I was just mad at the time. I was just upset at the time. Why the fuck would they do that shit? It's stupid, bro. It's stupid. Tyson Fury, fake retired. Fake fucking retired. Did the WBC, did anybody be like, yo, WBC, get him the fuck up out of here? Nah, nigga was like, yeah, you retired, but did you petition the WBC? You really not gonna get that Usyk bag, nigga? You really ain't gonna get that money? It's no different here, bro. He shouldn't be stripped. Should they be reaching out to his team to figure out how serious he is? And then if he is serious, didn't he vacate or didn't they strip him? Yes. But just strip him because of public comments? Nobody would have a title. Team Alifu would have lost his titles because of public comments. Shakur Stevenson would have lost his titles because of public comments. Tyson Fury would have lost his titles because of public comments. And the list goes on and on, bro. I think too many times in this boxing space, people don't allow their logic and common sense to dictate their takes, bro. No. Especially with Zuffa and what Turkey is trying to do, and how Turkey and Dana White are trying to put the WBA out of business. And the WBA has one of the biggest stars in boxing that holds one of their belts. It would be fucking stupid to just say, yeah, nigga, you said that shit publicly, nigga, we stripping you. That would be dumb on their part, bro. Yeah, like, I don't think people understand the stupid shit they be saying. So, Turkey's trying to put you out of business. One of the biggest things you can have as a sanctioning body is to have Canelo have your belt, have Tank have your belt, have Anthony Joshua have your belt, have Terrence Crawford have your belt. And they're supposed to be like, yeah, bro, you know what? Our biggest star that got our belt. He's the biggest star that got the WBA belt. Shit. One of the biggest stars in boxing. That's what he is. Let's just take his belt. Because he said some shit to a fan on Twitter. Because he said a sarcastic comment to a fan on Twitter. Let's just take his shit. Let's forget the business implications of it. Let's forget how much money we would lose by doing it. Let's just take his shit because we need to move the division forward. The WBA knew about Lara versus Janabek before we did. The WBA knew about Tank versus Roach rematch before we did. They knew about Tank versus Jake Paul before we did. The way that it works when you are a champion in a sanctioning body, they have to approve the moves that you make. They have to approve you fighting, bro. They have to approve, hey, bro, look, I'm finna take this exhibition. I know I'm a champion over here. Y'all cool with me taking this exhibition? Y'all gonna strip me? Nah, dog, we ain't gonna strip you and shit. I bet we're gonna go ahead and take the exhibition. Or if you big dick swinging, like taking his team seemed to think they was, man, I'm taking this exhibition. WBA like, whoa, hold up, we gotta review your status as champion. What happened to that? Or they could have told him and they just like, yeah, bro, look, we gonna act like we mad about it. Cause we know fans gonna get mad and shit. We gonna act like we reviewing your status as champion. But you know we ain't gonna strip you, dog. You coming back, right? You gonna fight for our belt again so we can hold the WBA up. And your next fight after this one, yeah, bro, I got y'all. Don't worry about it. Y'all think these conversations ain't being had, bro? Y'all think these conversations ain't being had, bro? You stupid than a motherfucker if you believe that shit. Shout out to Miss KO for that tea. That tea fire is helping with my throat. But I just wanted to say this, bro, on these videos, because I think sometimes people's emotions and narratives and their agenda makes people forget the prudent thing to do or the logical thing to do. So should Tank Davis be stripped? Fuck no. Wake me up when he hasn't defended his belt in a year or 2 years or a year and a half. Wake me up when after the Jake Paul fight he announces his retirement and says, no, I'm definitely not coming back. Then we start having those conversations. But y'all got to understand, while fighters and promoters and networks, while they're saying shit to us publicly, they're having different conversations with sanctioning bodies behind the scenes, bro. As champion, you can't just go do what you want to do without getting approval first, they'll strip your ass. Do you have more leeway if you a Gervonta Tank Davis? Hell yeah. Hell yeah, you do. But do you still have something that you have to answer to? Do you still let them know what's up? Do they still approve? Or yes, they do, bro. Or disapprove, whatever. Yes, bro. So, no, he shouldn't be stripped until people start calling for fighters that have defended their belts far less, that have far more longer periods of inactivity, that have moved up weight classes over and over again and still got belts at lower weight classes. Until y'all start doing that shit, bro, miss me with all this Tank Davis should be stripped shit. That's just a hate campaign, bro. That's just a hate campaign, fam. That's all it is. Once he firmly announced his retirement, yeah, take that shit up off of him. If he firmly announces his move to 140 or 147, take that shit up off of him. He ain't above the sport of boxing. But defending his belt in March and then taking a big-time exhibition fight that everybody would take to get his bread up, get his money up, get his star status up in November. Oh, okay, he did that shit, let's automatically strip him. Get the fuck out of here, nigga. Y'all tripping. Y'all tripping. Just like the call for him to get stripped when he was going through his court case and shit. When he was going through his shit with the BM. You let this shit play out, nigga. It's only fucking what? It's October. The fight in a month, bro. You let this shit play out. You be stupid as hell. You let this shit play out. You see what he say. You see what he want to do. And before you even strip him, you reach out to whatever. I don't give a fuck if you say, nigga, I'm retired. I ain't never coming back. I'm done with this shit. If he say that shit after Jake Paul, you the WBA, nigga, you get Louis the Q on the phone right there and say, bro, he serious? He serious, bro? Okay, he not serious? All right, bet. So that's just for show. All right, cool. Okay, he is serious? Okay, yeah, we gotta order the vacant shit. We gotta order the vacant shit. We gotta move the division forward. Even then, bro, you still like, yo, nah, hell nah, nigga, is he serious? You want Tank to have your belt as long as possible, nigga. You don't strip superstars in the sport of boxing when it's a war brewing and somebody trying to put you out of business. You keep them wanting your belts, holding your belts. People always call for stupid shit all the time, though. Dumbass, man. Smash the like, sub to the channel. I see y'all soon. Peace.